Hello students, my name is Ushasri. I am working as Junior Scientific Officer in Biochemistry Department, Sports Authority of India, Bangalore. Today I am going to explain you about biochemical monitoring of athletes during sports training. In the previous video, I have explained about different biomarkers that are used in sports and exercise. In this video, I'll be explaining about nutritional markers and metabolic markers. Nutritional markers are the biochemical markers that gives information about the nutritional status of athletes. Athletic performance and recovery from exercise are enhanced by optimal nutrition. Athletes tend to have higher nutrient needs compared to non-athletes. Nutritional deficiencies are very common in athletes who are trying to cut down their calories and athletes who are trying to reduce their body weight. If you check the background, low calcium and vitamin D levels increases the risk of injuries and stress fractures in athletes. Iron, folic acid and vitamin B12 deficiencies may lead to anemia, fatigue, cognitive impairments and immune deficiencies in athletes. B-complex vitamin deficiency may result in performance decrements in athletes by decreasing the energy metabolism. Vitamin E deficiency, on the other hand, may result in erythrolyte hemolysis and muscle degradation. Biomarkers that are commonly used to know the nutritional status of athletes include iron, ferritin, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin B12. Among these, iron and vitamin D deficiencies are very common in athletes. Iron profile panel includes 4 parameters, namely serum iron, serum ferritin, total iron binding capacity, and transferrin saturation. In the diet, iron is present in two forms. One is heme iron and the other form is non-heme iron or free iron. When the athlete consumes more of non-vegetarian diet, he gets more of heme iron. If the athlete consumes more of vegetarian diet, he may get non-heme iron or free iron. After the digestion, the iron will be absorbed into the blood. In the blood, iron will bind with a protein called transferrin. Transferrin is the protein that binds with the iron and that transports iron in our blood. In our body, iron is mainly required for the formation of hemoglobin, that is the protein present in RBC, and it is also required for the formation of myoglobin, that is the protein present in muscles, and iron is also required for the synthesis of some of the enzymes and iron sulfur proteins. So, maximum amount of iron will be diverted for the formation of hemoglobin, myoglobin and other proteins, and remaining amount will be stored in our liver in the form of ferritin. So ferritin is the protein that stores iron in our body. So there are two proteins here you have to remember. One is transferrin, that is the protein which transports iron in our body, and the second protein is ferritin, that is the protein that stores iron in our body. So when we do iron profiling, we estimate free iron in the blood. We also estimate the amount of ferritin that indicates the storage form of iron, and we also estimate transferrin saturation and total iron binding capacity. That shows the capacity of our blood to bind with the iron and the percentage of transferrin that is bound with iron. These 4 tests indicates iron status of an athlete. Anemia is a condition characterized by low levels of RBC or hemoglobin. Anemia occurs due to different reasons. Iron deficiency is also one of the reasons that leads to anemia. Iron deficiency anemia is very common in India, and the causes of iron deficiency anemia include lack of iron in your diet, inability to absorb iron, and blood loss. Anemia is more prevalent in athletes compared to sedentary population. The reason for this is hemolysis. What is hemolysis? Hemolysis means destruction of RBC. This is the RBC. Usually after 120 days, RBC will be lysed. But in athletes, hemolysis occurs little early. In athletes, mechanical injuries and metabolic injuries together results in increased hemolysis. Mechanical injuries like foot impact, muscle contraction, and vasoconstriction results in direct injury and lead to hemolysis. On the other hand, metabolic injuries means hyperthermia, that is increased body temperature, dehydration, hypotonic shock, hypoxia, lactic acidosis, oxidative damage, increased levels of catecholamines. All these together increases hemolysis. When this occurs on a long run, it may lead to anemia. Food strike hemolysis is very common in endurance athletes. Reduced iron status usually results in reduced time trial performance, impaired VO2 max, reduced energy efficiency, lower training volume per day, greater maximum lactate, and lower time to exhaustion. Iron deficiency anemia need to be treated with the nutritional interventions and supplements if required. Consumption of iron-rich foods will be helpful to maintain the optimum iron levels in athletes. Estimation of iron status is not only helpful to identify the iron deficiency anemia, it is also helpful to diagnose other conditions like polycythemia and excessive iron supplementation, etc. Magnesium is another important mineral for athletes. Magnesium is important for energy metabolism as well as nerve and muscle function. Optimal magnesium also improves muscle strength and delays muscle fatigue during the exercise. Magnesium is very important for muscle relaxation. So deficiencies of magnesium may lead to muscle weakness, muscle spasms, and altered CK and lactate response to exercise. Vitamin B12 plays an important role in the production of red blood cells as well as in the brain and nervous system function. Vitamin B12 and folic acid deficiency may lead to macrocytic megaloblastic anemia. Megaloblastic anemia is characterized by large immature dysfunctional RBC and hypersegmented neutrophils. Estimation of vitamin D and calcium levels will give information about bone and muscle health of athletes. Optimum vitamin D levels will be helpful to maintain bone health and in the prevention of bone and muscle injuries in athletes. Vitamin D deficiency in children results in rickets, and in adults, vitamin D deficiency may lead to osteomalacia. In athletes, vitamin D deficiency may result in increased stress fractures, increased atrophy of type 2 muscle fibers, increased myalgia, decreased muscle strength. It also impedes calcium uptake in sarcoplasmic reticulum and results in increased incidence of upper respiratory tract infections. Other nutritional markers include zinc, chromium, vitamin A, and vitamin E, etc. Metabolic markers are the subcategory of biomarkers that will give information about different metabolisms and their associated disorders. This group of parameters include glucose, lipid profile, blood urea nitrogen, creatinine, protein, amino acids, etc. Glucose functions as the primary energy source. Circulating glucose levels during exercise depend on the energy status, food intake, event intensity, and glycogen storage levels. Reduced glycogen availability is commonly associated with fatigue. So, tracking and monitoring of fasting and longer-term blood glucose levels may help the athletes to monitor their nutritional adequacy and to prevent the exercise-induced hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is common in athletes who perform long-duration activities. Blood glucose levels less than 70 mg per dl can be considered as hypoglycemia. Normally, in athletes, hypoglycemia is observed at the end of the exercise. But in few athletes, hypoglycemia can be observed in the beginning of the exercise. This kind of hypoglycemia is called as reactive hypoglycemia. What is reactive hypoglycemia? When athletes consume food just before the activity, that results in increased blood glucose levels. As the blood glucose levels increases, there will be increased secretion of insulin. What insulin will do? Insulin will try to reduce the blood glucose levels by increasing the uptake of glucose by different tissues. This results in declined blood glucose levels. And meantime, as the athletes are doing exercise, muscle also will take some amount of glucose. So because of this, the glucose levels will reduce further and lead to hypoglycemia. Due to this hypoglycemia, brain will start getting less amount of energy because brain mainly depends upon glucose for its energy production. And athletes will start experiencing the symptoms of hypoglycemia like dizziness, weakness, lack of power, nausea, and this further may lead to reduced athletic performance. So, avoiding glucose rich food just before the exercise, and by tracking the glucose levels throughout the day and mainly before and after the exercise, and by avoiding exercise during insulin peak time, this reactive hypoglycemia can be prevented. Let's see the biomarkers of fat metabolism. Fats are used as primary energy source in endurance events or when carbohydrate availability is low. Some fats play important role in recovery. Omega-3 fatty acids will help to reduce inflammation, muscle soreness, and perception of pain from exercise. In our body, fats are stored in the form of triacylglycerols. Breakdown of triacylglycerols results in the formation of fatty acids and glycerol. At low intensity exercise, mainly energy is supplied by fats. As the exercise intensity increases, energy production from fats declines and energy production from carbohydrates increases. So when the athletes are doing low to medium intensity exercise, mainly fats will provide energy, and when athletes are doing medium to high intensity exercise, energy is mainly produced by carbohydrates. Hormonal adaptations that occur during exercise promotes lipolysis. Lipolysis means breakdown of triglycerides into fatty acids and glycerol. Estimation of lipid profile parameters, namely triglycerides, total cholesterol, high density lipoprotein cholesterol, low density lipoprotein cholesterol, and very low density lipoprotein cholesterol will give information about the dietary habits of athletes and about their lipid metabolism. Let's see the biochemical markers of protein metabolism. Proteins serve as the building blocks of cells and tissues in our body, and they also act as precursors for the synthesis of hormones and enzymes in our body. An imbalance between dietary protein intake and dietary protein needs may result in net protein loss in athletes. Protein deficiency decreases blood proteins, especially albumin. So, decreased albumin levels can be considered as a marker of protein deficiency. On the other hand, increased levels of urea and blood urea nitrogen can be observed when the protein catabolism is increased or protein breakdown is increased. So, increased urea levels and decreased albumin level indicates protein deficiency in athletes. On the other hand, the ratio of amino acid glutamine to glutamate is used as a potential marker of overtraining in athletes. With this, I would like to conclude this video. In the next video, I'll be explaining more about muscle damage markers and overtraining markers. Thank you.